Hey folks, Pallet here, back with another update on my village project. And this one's kind of exciting for me, not because the builds that I've added are anything amazing, but because these builds are mine. These are some things that I've been working on, trying to give myself just a little bit more practice at creating things. As you know, if you've watched some of my videos, I'm a real big fan of tutorials. I love the builds that I'm seeing other people come up with. And I sometimes just don't feel like I can compete. I don't feel like I have that knack for coming up with really cool ideas and unique ways of using some of these blocks. So I've been working a little bit on that this week. There were a couple of things that I've been wanting to add to my village for a little bit, and those are some boats to sail on my river. Now, considering that we've got a sawmill over here, I thought one of the first things we could use is a barge, something to haul some of the logs around. Look at me, I'm the captain now. So like I said, this isn't anything huge. This isn't anything just that's gonna win awards. But I was really happy with how it turned out. It's um, it's just basically a flat-bottomed boat that's designed to haul heavy cargo. And I've got some logs strapped down on here. You see, we've even got a little bit of a keel underneath and a rudder on the back. And we got some place for the captain to steer the boat right here. He can sit back here and turn the rudder if he needs to. So, like I said, this is one of my first attempts at just kind of creating something all on my own. There are some creators that I looked at when I was trying to come up with some ideas for these, and I just didn't see anything that really fit in to to what I had in mind. I've seen a lot of like really big pirate ships, a lot of houseboats, that sort of thing. I just wasn't finding a lot of barges. So this is one of the first ones that I came up with. And there's a lot of room for improvement, I think, but overall, I'm pretty happy with how it came out. Now, the second one that I came up with, I figured if we had barges, we probably needed some ferries. We needed ways for passengers to get around on the rivers, not just cargo. So over here by my windmill, we have a small cargo ferry, or a small passenger ferry that is sitting here just waiting to take on a few passengers. Similar sort of hull to what I had on the barge. Notice I did a little bit different of a keel down below. This boat's a little bit wider, and we've got a rudder back there as well. Also got a little area here at the stern. And inside, of course, we've got plenty of seating for the passengers and a little bit of storage if we need it. And of course, a couple of lanterns up front just to make sure that they can see where they're going. This one I was even happier with than the barge. I think this one turned out a lot better. Of course, when you're working on a build that's only 3 blocks wide, like that barge, you don't have a lot of room for detail, and this one didn't give me a lot more room. But by being able to add in some details with the birch and just give a little bit of variety to the coloring here, I thought it turned out really well. Now, those are the two small boats that I've been working on. There was one other project that I had in mind that I really wanted to kind of have a free hand with. And again, this is the sort of thing that a lot of people have done tutorials on, but I wanted to make it my own. So over here, we have an airship. And I'll provide some links down below. There were a couple of websites that I used that kind of gave me some construction ideas, I guess you could say, without actually being straight out tutorials. One of those was out at Grabcraft, and I'll provide a link down below. Um, the the website there had a really great rundown on how to build larger ships. And it started out from laying out the keel and what sort of proportions you want the keel to have, and then building the top deck back from the upper end of the keel and what sort of shape it should have, kind of an almost an ellipse shape here at the front. And then it went on with how to shape the hull coming down from that and how to stagger things. And I did not go with any direct measurements from that. I just kind of read through it, got the ideas that the author had, and then came up here with my own measurements, something that fit the size that I wanted, and started building. And this one I'm really happy with. Now, aside from the ship, we've also got the balloon up here. Now, the balloon, again, without really following a tutorial, I was using plots.co.uk. Don't know if you've seen that. I would assume that as long as Minecraft's been around, I am definitely not the first person to use these. In fact, I know my wife has used Plots before for some of her builds. But Plots allows you, if you're not familiar with it, it allows you to specify like the size of a sphere or the size of an ellipsoid. The shape of the balloon up here is an ellipsoid. It lets you set the parameters for like the diameter or the height and width and depth that you want, and then it'll plot it out for you block by block. You can view it in 2 dimensions or 3 dimensions, and it'll show it to you one layer at a time to give you a hand building some of these shapes that just aren't quite natural to a game based around cubes. I am going to hop in here real quick. We're going to take a look at the captain's cabin. Now, I have stolen a couple of villagers to help populate my ship over here. But walking into the captain's cabin, you notice we got a couple of writing stands and some storage. We've also got a couple of armor stands tucked here next to the stairs. We've got some maps along the back wall. I've got a librarian that is making noise at me, probably because he thinks this is his cabin. Back here, we've got a couple of storage closets and a little globe. The globe, if you've seen some of my other videos, that's a custom player head that I've just imported in. So is that. Something fun to have inside a closet. Anybody who comes peeking around. And then up here, of course, we've got a little clock on the ledge. We've got plenty of storage and bookcases, and looks like we've got a nice full bed at the moment. Of course, the captain of the ship gets the biggest bed, the nicest quarters up here. Paintings on the wall, some banners just to kind of soften the edges a little bit, make it look a little bit more lived in, and of course, a couple of maps on the back for him to study. Now we come out here. I'm going to go up a little bit. We do have kind of a little observation deck here. Haven't done much with it. Of course, it's only 2 blocks wide. There's not a whole lot we can do with that without making it inaccessible. Up here, of course, we've got the ship's wheel. And we've got a nice view all the way around. Now coming down to the main deck, we have a couple of storage chests, and then we've got the access to the lower deck down in the hold. This, my idea for this is that it's going to be probably more used for passenger travel than cargo travel. And of course, right here at the front, we've got crew beds. Got a little basin here so they have some fresh water while they're below decks. And then we get to the cabins for the paying customers, the paying passengers. And these are nothing special. These are kind of the steerage class appointments. I got a couple of beds in a single cabin. We've got some storage tossed in above, and a little bit of a ledge here where you can get to even more storage. These are for the passengers that maybe just don't have a lot of money, but still need to get the faster transport somewhere. But then, I don't need to buy anything from you. Back here, our fisherman is going into what I think of as kind of our first class quarters. A little bit of decoration on the wall. We've got a double bed, nice little bookshelf, some under stair storage. And then up here, of course, we've got a little bit of a corner table with some cups set out. We've got brewing stand with a keg here. And of course, more storage. But the really fancy part of this, of course, is the window that looks out the stern of the ship, complete with a couple of chairs. So you can sit here, kind of have a little conversation area, or just watch the sun rise and sunset. We will leave our fishermen in there for the moment, and we will go back above deck. Now, looking at the balloon, and we're just gonna come up here a bit. As I mentioned earlier, I used plots.co.uk to plan out the overall shape of the balloon, which I then made with wool. I didn't want something just, monochrome. I didn't want a single color, so we made kind of a red stripe that goes all around as a middle band of the balloon, yellow on the top and bottom. But then we needed some way to attach it to the boat. And I did look at what some other creators have done and took some ideas from that. So we've got dark oak here that forms kind of a brace around the balloon. It goes all the way around the width in two places and all the way lengthwise around the balloon, straight down the middle there. Then I used some diorite. I believe this was polished diorite and polished diorite stairs to form the tethers. So we've got those that hook up along the brace around the balloon and then go down and attach to the ship itself. So we've got those 4 tethers that keep everything attached. Now, I do have further ideas that I want to implement with this. I would like to get maybe a couple of propellers coming in off the sides here. Maybe somewhere just below the windows of the captain's cabin. Get a couple of propellers. I just haven't really worked out the design that I want for those yet. This was far enough along that I wanted to have a chance to show off what I had been working on. And I was also testing out a little bit of a not very challenging parkour, but a little bit of a path to get from here over to the nearby cliffside, just for anybody who might not have an elytra that allows them to fly around as easily as, well, I'd like to say as easily as I do, but as easily as I hope to do. We will fly back up here to the ship. And of course, we have a little lifeboat off to the side. To be honest, I'm really not sure how much good that's going to do you if the ship starts to crash, but every good ship needs a lifeboat. Maybe it's just a holdover from when this was a pirate ship. Who knows? And of course, a little bit of a lightning rod, just to be safe. Everything here is very flammable except the tethers, so I may need to position some lightning rods just a little bit away to make sure that everything stays safe. But folks, that's my update for this week. That's what I've been working on. The creative process is again, it's something that I'm just not as comfortable with on Minecraft. It's something that I really have to get myself in the right frame of mind and get some good inspiration going. But overall, I am really happy with how these projects this week have come out. In fact, up here we've got, this is where I was practicing my builds a little bit, trying to nail down the proportions of the smaller boats and all that. Just didn't quite have enough flat space up here to work on the ship, the airship, so we did the airship in the air first try. Well, I shouldn't say first try. First, second, third tries. I had to to rebuild quite a few sections as I went along. But folks, that is the update for this week. Thank you so much for joining me and for keeping with me over this entire project. I hope you're enjoying what you see. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them down below. As always, a like or subscribe is greatly appreciated, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.